Welcome to Inside Independence, a cable show of Independence Television. I'm Joette Kuntz, your host for the show. Today our guests will be the candidates for the office of Supervisor, Clerk, and Treasurer of Independence Township. All candidates were invited to participate in this show. Before you meet the candidates, I'm sure you're interested in knowing some of their duties. The Township recently published a flow chart of departments that the Supervisor, the Clerk, and the Treasurer are responsible for. The Supervisor, Treasurer, and Clerk are part of the Board of Trustees of the Township and represent the residents of the Township when voting. As all candidates have currently designated the same political party, the August primary Tuesday, August 6, 2024, should determine who will be elected to Township offices. Thus, each resident's vote is important in the primary. There's a quote by Larry Sabato in his book Pendulum Swing, which says, "Every election is determined by the people who show up to vote." And we hope you will show up. Each candidate will have a minute or two to introduce themselves to the viewers and then share with the issues that they see that are facing the township and some possible solutions to those issues. On the screen, you will see voting locations for early voting, obtaining absentee ballots, and other information. Any questions, please call the Independence Township Clerk's office.
Hi, my name is Jose Aliaga. I am the Township Supervisor running for re-election. I'm married with my lovely wife, Lindsay, and my little boy. I have a little boy named Joseph. Joseph is 11 months. I have, actually his birthday is coming next week, so we're excited. He's gonna be 1 year, and I'm very happy and proud that my son is gonna grow up here in Independence Township. And that's why it's one of the main reasons also I care about our township, because I care about the future of our kids and our families. I have a master and a bachelor degree from the University of Michigan. And also I have a law degree from a university in Peru, so I'm a lawyer. Now, I want to start talking about what I've done in the last year and a half. Let's start with Parks and Recreation and Senior. One of the most challenging things in the public sector is hiring, retaining employees, and hiring new employees. I have to tell you, our parks are fantastic. We work really hard, my administration worked really hard in the parks. For instance, I'm gonna give you some examples. Our deputy director, one of the deputy director was a leadership award, the annual MPARS conference, on February, for the Recreation Leadership Award that is presented for members for outstanding contribution and leadership in recreation programming. So the programs are doing great, providing good services for our seniors, kids, and more residents. So Baker Park is our park down on Andersonville. So we installed a new playground. The grand opening was this spring, this year in 2024, and that was a great job from the Department of Parks and Rec. They put it together. And also we secured a funding for the playground for various sources, including the $100,000 match for the Township Board of Trustees. Again, the Board of Trustees, they come and help out. We work together with the departments, and that's how we make things happen. Now I want to talk about Brady Lodge. Brady Lodge at Baker Park is a beautiful building, but we didn't have heating and cooling. So we, my administration worked with the Board of Trustees and Parks and Rec, and we put some heating and cooling system, and it's available for the public for rental. That allows our seniors and citizens to rent at lower cost, and that helps to have a venue for 4 seasons. And that's great because a lot of people are using it. If you see every board meeting, we approve a lot of the rental for citizens to enjoy Brady Lodge. And also we put actually a new roof, new floor. We put insulation, and that helps a lot. Baker got also some new asphalt upgrades, because when I walked the first time to Baker, I see a lot of potholes. It was difficult to drive in and out. Now it's really nice ride to drive inside the park. Having now these updates is important. Sashaba Plains. Many people don't know where Sashaba Plains was located. between Maybe and Sashaba. So we improve a lot there. We have major improvements like new sand, mulch. We stain the picnic tables. We're gonna have new sign for the 3 parks. That's gonna allow the residents to see where is located Sashaba Plains. Sashaba Plains is a beautiful park. We did a lot. Then now a lot of people from the south of Independence Township are coming in, enjoy the park. We also purchased nearly 39 acres in Perry Lake Road, attached to Clintonwood Park, for a park expansion and preservation. And we have a new committee that's working to see what we're gonna do. We identify some of the needs. We're gonna start looking into new opportunities for Clintonwood Park because we need more pickable courts than is needed. So we're gonna see how the committee is gonna bring some recommendations to the board. Our senior community center serves over 400 veterans and offer 50+ travel opportunities, provide 10,000 paratransit rides, and deliver 9,000+ Meals on Wheels. Participation in the senior center programs doubled compared to previous year. So that's great. We're doing a lot. We have great staff, great people, and I always thank them for the great work. Now I'm gonna be talking about the Department of Public Works, which they done a fantastic job as well. We secured $5 million for PFAS contamination efforts. We also received $100,000 for Oakland County PFAS source investigation. We approved the construction of a new fuel deposit facility for the spring 2024. The oncoming interior renovation for DPW administration offices is coming, and hopefully we're gonna have the open house on July 10 at the most. That renovation is great because we need to, again, take care of infrastructure. My administration was working really hard and upgrade, improve infrastructure. We utilized $1.2 million of ARPA funds for the new water drain for Sunnyside Drive and Pine-Up Trail. We complete the fiber optic cable installation for improved communication between township facilities, which is very good. So we received 35,000 grants for a new generator portable generator, which is really, really good. Also, we implement a new safety path in the south of between Curtins Lake and Parkview Drive. We have a new safety path that is helping for to connect the south with Baker Park. Now, I'm gonna talk about the building department. We process over 1,600 permits, include 361 building, 365 electrical, 557 mechanical, and 69 new home permits. We conduct over 2,400 building inspections, which is good. We review nearly 400 residential and 37 commercial plans. We praise for excellent customer service by residents and contractors and planning and zoning. Now, planning and zoning, you see, I love to knock on doors and talking with people. I talked many of you for many, many years, and one of the major concerns was Dixie Highway. They need more lighting, sometimes it's unsafe, the intersection of Whale Lake and Dixie. But you see, I knew that I have just a year and a half and we need to do something. So we reviewed the Dixie Highway Downtown Development Authority. We call it the DDA, where we put together a community with local residents and business people that have their business on Dixie Highway to bring idea, input, to address the issues, and to improve with the DDA committee. Now, with that, we want to attract money from the county and also from Lansing. We hired a consulting group from Lansing that's going to help us to bring more money to the township. There's the same group that brought $10 million for Orion and more than $50 million for Rochester. This group is working with us now, and their job is help us to identify more grants and more money available to improve our township. So now I want to talk about Independence Television, ITV. ITV done a fantastic job, great job. And this year they won the Alliance for Community Media Hometown Media Awards. Again, this is another department that won an award. But this award is nationwide in the United States. And they celebrate 10 years of partnership with the Clarkston Community School and Independence Township, where we give opportunity to our kids to learn. They broadcast, record events at shows, local shows making Independence Township, Clarkston area, which is wonderful. We broadcast 99 meetings and also create 15 ribbon cuttings videos. We run a summer media camp for kids, so we're helping our kids, planning to continue in 2024 and 25 and the future. We produce 35 promotional videos for community events and organizations. We launched a new podcast connecting Clarkston with 17 episodes plus. We upgrade our broadcast equipment to high definition. Now I'm gonna talk now we have a new department, Public Information Office. This was created during my administration to improve communication with residents. And believe it or not, most of the community have a Facebook page and other social media communications tools, and we didn't have that. And I was very surprised when I took office, we didn't have a Facebook page for our township, so we did it. Now we have a Facebook page. We hired a new person starting very soon. Then it's gonna continue working with that department, and we're gonna make sure that the community know what's going on in the township, facts. Assessing department, it's another department. So we are busy with the price on tracking and all that, housing, all that. And we've done so many for veterans. We have a property tax exemption with our annual application starting in 2025. And Lisa McLean helped us out with $5 million that's coming very soon. We apply for that. I'm gonna finish telling, please, while ago I asked, are you write-off now than 4 years ago? I got elected 2 years ago, and now I wanna tell you that I'm gonna continue, and please, let's continue with a good team. Please vote for me, Jose Aliaga, for supervisor, and re-elect me again. I'm gonna continue. What I done in a year and a half is gonna be more to come, because the best things are yet to come. Thank you so much, and God bless you. I'm Jose Aliaga, and I approve this message. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Chuck Fowle, and I'm running for Independence Township Supervisor. You know, when I think about Independence Township, I think about parks, lakes, Pine Knob, never DTE, all the great schools we have here. And along those lines, I want to give a little shout out to the girls varsity tennis team. They just won the state championship. Way to go. Also, the Everest Collegiate boys golf team won, I think, their third straight state championship. Again, great job. I also think about kids and adults walking, riding, running throughout the community. It's a very park-like community, a very Norman Rockwellish place to live. And this is why like 90% of the people that I've talked to live here, because it's so picturesque. I've been here for 45 years. My brother, my two sisters are still here 45 years later. They've raised their kids here. They've gone through the Clarkston High School. I have 5 kids. 2 of them are finishing up at Everest. I have another daughter who lives in Texas, who's pregnant, so I'm expecting our first grandbaby. She's moving back here again because of the park-like Norman Rockwellish view here. My family's been very vested in the township. Matter of fact, I'm sitting in a studio right now at the Clarkston High School, and just out the door here, the Clarkston High School football field, when they went and built it, they needed a little help. My family helped out there. We were also helping to build the Everest football field. Beth and I, my wife, sponsor an annual college scholarship to help kids. Beth and I also founded a charity to help kids become our future leaders, helping them with different activities and raising funds for things that they normally could not generate revenue for. We have volunteered thousands of hours to this community. We are heavily vested in this community, and we're not going anywhere. However, things are starting to slip away. The beautiful picturesques of kids, adults playing safely is starting to change. You know, I've been in business for 35 years. I'm not a politician. I've started my own companies, and for the last 25 years, I've been re-engineering companies. Small $5 million companies to hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, when I go into one of those companies, I go through and I look to streamline their processes. Where can we cut out waste? Where can we do things better? The interesting thing is, I don't actually ask the management teams. I go down to the individual employee and ask them, what do you really do on a day-to-day basis? What can the company do to help make your job better and make you feel better about your job? I've helped them create alternative revenue sources, and I've helped them position the companies for future growth. This is what I'm bringing to the table to help ensure the vision for Independence Township is developed, implemented, and achieved. The supervisor has two main functions. One is to be the operations person. This is to go through and say, okay, we have a township that has basically $30 million in revenue. We have a little over 100 employees. We provide service to over 37,000 residents. You know, it's their job to make sure that that part of their job is running smoothly. The second thing they do is they provide leadership. The supervisor provides the leadership on making sure that the vision for the township is moving forward. First of all, you have to have a plan, you execute the plan, and you keep maintaining it going forward. You know, with things as I keep on looking at them with the township standpoint, that 100 employees is probably one of the most important part of what's going on. It's those 100 employees. And I've talked to all the trustees. I've talked to all the elected officials, the clerk, the treasurer, the heads of departments, the budget, DPW, so on and so forth, and actual employees that are doing the work, and they all care. A lot of them have been here for 25 plus years doing their job. And that's amazing. But it's also a double-edged sword. And what I mean by that is that while they know their job inside and out, sometimes they just keep doing what they were doing. And without having the proper tools to be able to evaluate where are we moving towards and should I still be doing it the same way, you know, you need to have a vision and a plan for going forward. And so that's also a huge part of what the supervisor does. And that is the going through and solving problems. The most important are the people in the organization, as I said. You know, without them, stuff just doesn't get done. They're the most valuable asset. They want to be heard. They want to be respected. They want to be able to do their job and do it well. What I look at doing is making sure that we're aligning those goals of the individuals, the organization, with the vision. And again, that goal comes back to having a clear understanding of what that vision is for the township. You know, so the responsibility on the other side is to have that vision for the future. You know, you need a supervisor that can explain it and articulate it to the employees. You need a supervisor that can explain it and articulate to the citizens. And you need a supervisor that can articulate it to all the builders and developers and vendors and tradesmen that we all work together. You know, keeping that all working together and focused on the same vision to make sure we're moving in the same direction. I believe we have great days ahead of us, but they're not guaranteed. You know, I talked to the Planning Commission for the 5-year plan, and when I was talking to him, he said that our growth potential on residential and commercial is limited. We're an aging community, meaning that the services that we now enjoy are going to be different in 5 years, 10 years. You know, we're going to need more money to provide those services. We need new revenue sources. If we do not come up with new revenue sources, then we have issues along the lines where the taxes from new development, from whether house or residential, isn't going to be sufficient. So the only other alternative is to actually raise your property taxes. I am 100% against that. I think if we just buckle down and take a look, we can be very creative and come up with other revenue ideas. These are the things that I, Chuck File, will focus on as your new supervisor. I ask for your vote on August 6th. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Don Tillman. I'm running for Township Supervisor. I've lived in Clarkson, Independence Township for 22 years. I got 4 wonderful children, 2 girls and 2 boys, and they're all grown up, and I got some wonderful families. Matter of fact, today I've got a new one coming. out in St. Clair Shores, and I'm excited, and my wife is excited. But I've really enjoyed Independence Township. I've loved Independence Township. I see a lot of things happening in Independence Township, and I'm proud of Independence Township. So hopefully that me running, that I can come up with some more creative ideas and things that will help better this township. I've been an entrepreneur for 40-some years. I've been in every type of business, from hotel business to restaurant business to strip mall business. I've been in everything, renovations, and I just love what I've done. I thought I'd take it easy and retire for a little bit, and I see a lot of things happening that I think it needs a change, and I'm not happy the way things have been running. So my interest is to step in, come up with a lot of good ideas. And the thing is with me, back in my days, I was always learned by a really nice teacher that taught me 3 things you gotta learn is planning, communications, and another thing, people skills. That is a very important thing in any business you're in, is working with the people and having a team. And I believe that's what makes things happen. So my issues with a lot of things, it goes back with a couple supervisors before Jose, that the situation we got across from Township Hall, the building that's going on, and then I'm getting a lot of calls about this new Myers. Don, what's this traffic gonna be like? What's this traffic gonna be like? I think we've taken something and created a monster without any follow-up on to handle all this. And another issue of mine's, and it's a lot, and I've talked to a couple people on this, that is the police department. Tina Holland was come to me and told me about that she talked to the chief of police, and that how they're complaining so badly, how they're cramped into their office space. The women have to put their bikes in their bathroom. I mean, it's just a situation I think it's really serious that we have to take a look at with the community growing to make this happen. And I personally think that should be a priority, is our safety. And our safety is a #1. And I understand what they're saying. And what I was told, that there's only 2 patrol officers that cover this whole township. And I feel like that's #1 thing, and we need to take an issue. We got to find a building. I've been in the building trades. It's not hard for me to figure out a plan to make this happen. But we got to get somebody, a group, to put this together, a committee, and start formulating for them to make them feel like they're important too. And I think they are very important. I think that's #1 along with our fire department. I hear they got issues, and I think that's a situation we need to take a look at with them. But I'm good at communicating with people and stuff like that. But but that isn't my situation, a lot of it. My situation is the way things are going on in the Township Hall. It's a mess. I think there's some kind of prejudice going on there. I don't want to mention any names, but it's got to be straightened. The problem is this fighting has got to stop. It's got to stop. It doesn't benefit the taxpayers. The taxpayers are the #1 people. I think they're the important ones, and I don't feel like anything's being done in a proper way. And my situation is, as I think it needs to be done in the right way. A couple supervisors prior to this, not mentioning his name, is getting himself involved in this situation. Now, to me, he's quit the job he had and basically left us in this situation, and with the traffic and the mess we got across from Town Hall, that he's interfering somewhat, I feel, into this election. And it makes me sad that we think that possibly he's going to have some kind of control of this township. And if he does, I feel we're right back to where we're at. And it scares me. It scares me for the people. It really does, because if we get that going on, next thing you know, we're going to see more commercial built, a lot of your green space is going to be gone, and we're going to, I mean, as far as the traffic, I can go about 1 or 2 o'clock on Sashaball Road, and you're lined up halfway. By 4 o'clock, you're lined up from Walden to Maybe. And I mean, and then if you add more to this, nobody's taking account about the traffic flow. It's just getting out of hand. I mean, on Walden, the subdivisions over there, they're screaming between the schools and everything else, and the new projects going on, they can't get in and out. So, I mean, some people's got to take a good look at what's going on, and I mean, and sit down and figure out what we can do to change this. Yes, it scares me to death with this Myers coming in, because we're going to be pulling people from one end of this, basically towns, I mean, because it's new, because the people don't care for Kroger's and they drive all the way down to Myers, and it's just going to bring them in from everywhere. And I just think we can't handle that. So basically, there's a lot of issues. Like I say, I don't like the way things are going on at Township Hall. I think the supervisor there now is being separated from another group, and they won't comply with him on any ideas and stuff like that, and it's sad. It's sad that we have to have it this way. But I don't want to get into the reason why on that, but that's another issue. But I just think that it's time to put a team on the board, and I'm looking at a new team to work whoever the supervisor is in there and make this thing happen. I think I really do. I think that we got to take a good look at a new board, like I see, trustee board, that people that can work as a team, because right now there's not a team players at all, and you got to have team players to make this good for the Township Hall. So I recommend that people get out and vote for the best person you think can make this happen for the people. And I urge everybody to get out this time to do this. It's very important to get change, and the change is this traffic control, the police department, and a group of team players. It's what we need, team players that understand. And another thing is, I don't care for the way that right now that I'm seeing as far as what's happening in the township, as far as monies is being transferred around and this and that, but I don't want to get into that, but all you got to do is read the newspaper. But that's basically it. I just want to see somebody in there that and on the board, a change, and see what we can do about making things happen in this township. And I just don't care for the way things have been going, I'm sorry, with the new supervisors that we have in here for the year and a half, but some people doesn't feel that it's the right way of things, and I don't know what else I can say, but we got to have things done the right way.
Hi, my name is Terry Whitney, and I'm running for Township Supervisor. And I'm here tonight because this is my second take. I'm here tonight doing my second take because of censorship and somebody interfering with an election, using their position of power in this city to censor my infomercial, so to speak, because they're afraid of what I have to say. They're a bully, but I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them at all. In fact, I'm here tonight at an extreme cost to myself, my time and resources, because this is more important. That bully in question, he's picked the wrong fight. You know, I mean, most political candidates, we say what we like. We have our issues. We have the free speech. In this country, you have the right to say literally anything you want. And political candidates even are given larger leeway to say whatever the heck they want, because a lot of it might be puffery and might not. But that being said, we have a bully. and I don't put up with bullies. So I want to tell everybody who might be watching that this bully in question, who I can't use his name, who happens to be the supervisor, has used his position to make sure that I'm here retaking this shoot tonight. So I'm here. We're all redoing this. And I have to ask the question, why am I doing this? And the reason is that he is using his position of power to threaten people. That's just how it is. So if you happen to feel that there is something wrong and something illegal going on here in the city or the state, you are protected by the Michigan Whistleblowers Act. And I don't put up with it. Nobody puts up with it. There are vast quantities of legal resources available to you. You have the right to sue the city. You have the right to report a crime without fear of remuneration, without fear of any form of retaliation against you. If they dock your pay, whether they cut your hours, whatever they do, you can sue the city and you'll get reinstated. And if you don't get reinstated, and you somehow, for some unknown reason, which only happens less than 1% of the time, lose, I'll find you a better job, a lot better job, making a lot more money. My phone number is 248-722-6582. And once again, you can look it up. It's called the Michigan Whistleblowers Protection Act. But enough about that. I started running for this position, for supervisor, because I look around the township and I'm stuck in traffic like everybody else. It's terrible. 2 hours to move a quarter mile. It's bad planning, and it's decades of bad planning. We have the same board for the last 2 decades. All those individuals have just sloughed off. Pardon the language, but they don't look at things. And when you hear about things like code enforcement, which is the supervisor's job, you hear about environmental protection, which is the supervisor's job, none of that's being done. Instead, they're just worried about making sure the developers are okay. Case in point, we have a gigantic monstrosity construction here on Walton Boulevard. It's a mess. It's terrible. Originally, it was supposed to have almost a 20-plus acre park in the center of it. And then the houses are going to be around the park, built around the park, and then you're going to have this really nice shopping center. Well, that's been cut down to less than 6 acres, and the township, aka all of us taxpayers, are going to be the ones to pay for it because somebody on the board or the board collectively just passed along a really bad contract because somebody's doing photo ops. Somebody'd rather do photo ops with international news organizations and boxers than read a contract. Make sure it's correct. That's 600 grand, not a big deal. I mean, it's all gonna come out of our pockets. I mean, we could have used that 600 grand, for instance, to build a really nice restroom near one of our nice lakes here so that it's not a EPA disaster waiting to happen. I mean, porta potty's nice and all, but they're gross. They're really gross. And if it happens to leak into the local lake, the EPA is going to shut us down, and it's going to fine the city, and it's going to cost us a lot of money to clean up, to make it back to EPA spec. Not to mention the complete disaster of what it will do to the wildlife, and shutting down the lake, and everybody enjoys that lake. So I just want you to think about that, but that's, just 600 grand. Here or there, can't be bothered. So next item on the list is we're going to talk about $40,000. See, at the beginning of the year, there was a budget. The supervisor in question blew through the entire legal budget in the first month. Yeah, the first month. It's supposed to last you the entire year, and it actually has like a 20% buffer. So but he blew through it in the first month, and then he proceeded to spend roughly an additional $40,000 over the next several months. And he, the treasurer, and the clerk knew about it, but they failed to disclose that to the rest of the board, and they failed, and the rest of us taxpayers, because it's an election year. Now, I'm not an attorney. By no means am I an attorney, but when you look at handling money in a publicly traded organization, and you fail to report said monies of whatever it is of a public organization, because for whatever reason you're afraid of an election or whatever it is, I think there's more to this story. Thank God there was two treasurers who actually, they're not treasurer, but two trustees who actually forced the issue to the floor and before the board so that we actually know about it. Otherwise, it would have gone just right through primaries and we'd be stuck with potentially just another choice, so to speak. That being said, we're only at 6:40. We've also hired an HR personnel. Now, normally this was done for 2+ decades by the supervisor. He handled HR and head of personnel. Unfortunately, the person in question can't do that, so we hired somebody else. So we're paying roughly, I mean, this is a guess, but we're paying roughly $80,000 for this individual. So we're now at right around $720 this year alone spent. Then there's the whole issue of just, this is only a couple months, guys. I mean, we still have 6 months to go, and how many legal fees is this individual going to rack up? Here nor there, moving right along, we can continue to talk about the various issues and failures like code enforcement, which I think I've already covered, the disaster of the wetland, the project over off Sashabaw by the Tim Hortons. If you're not aware, apparently there's some fill dirt there that just mysteriously showed up. And that dirt is rolling into the local ravine and potentially our ground and drinking water. And there's some, various erosion control measures that are not being taken care of. And supposedly the supervisor may have known about it for months and months. And instead of choosing to enforce protection laws because that's actually what the supervisor does, he chose to ignore it. So I've gone ahead and taken the necessary steps to inform the EPA myself that there's something going on here and maybe they need to look into it. But moving right along, let's actually talk about what we're going to do better. We're going to have a transparent government, and I'm not talking just this BS transparency that every candidate likes to come over and talk about. We're actually going to have actionable results. We are going to implement a ticketing system so that when you come before the board or come and have an issue anywhere, lo and behold, you're given a ticket, and you're going to be able to track that ticket. And if there's a problem with that ticket, you're going to be able to hold whoever is holding that process up accountable. Because I do process automation. I've done it for decades. We are going to make this the most transparent, effective, and efficient piece of government you've ever seen. And it's going to be scary because you'll be able to hold everybody accountable. We're also going to open up the government back to 5 days a week. There's 1,733 cities in this state, and we're the only one that is closed on Friday because we're worried about the employees, but we're not worried about the citizens who actually pay for the employees. So that's going to be an issue. Also, we're going to expand service hours. When there's a township board meeting, you should be able to go in there, do whatever you need to do, and take care of it. And if there's an issue, you come downstairs and you hold the board accountable, and the board will listen. And if the board doesn't listen, at least I will listen. So when you have a choice, and when you're thinking about why I'm up here today, I want you to think about voting for me, because at least I'll clean it up. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carrie Newbeck. I'm honored to have held the position of Independence Township Clerk since 2019. My professional career spans 3 decades in public service within a clerk's office, of which a combined 17 years has been spent serving the township. I'm a certified municipal clerk by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, a Michigan Municipal Clerk Level 3 by the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks, and a certified citizen planner. As Township Clerk, I am dedicated to maintaining our community as a place of pride for residents, a destination for visitors, and a supportive environment for businesses. My focus is on transparency, efficiency, and accessibility in local government has led to several recent accomplishments. Enhanced payroll and HR management. Recognizing the need for efficiency and improved employee support, I initiated an in-house management of payroll and human resources. This change aimed to provide better services to our staff, streamline processes, and ensure a more responsive and accountable team. Smooth leadership transitions. Over the past 5 years, my office has successfully managed multiple changes in key leadership roles. Through effective communication and collaboration, we ensured seamless transitions for incoming township supervisors, a treasurer, and several trustees, while maintaining stability in township operations during these transitions. Creation of a Public Information Officer, or a PIO role. Acknowledging the evolving landscape of communication, particularly through social media, I led the introduction of the PIO position. This initiative aimed to strengthen our communication strategy by effectively managing and leveraging social media platforms. Facilitation of early voting. Serving as the host clerk for an early voting site, I collaborated with county and city authorities to bring accessible early voting to our community. Brady Lodge, our designated venue, now offers year-round comfort for voters, ensuring a convenient and welcoming environment during elections. As a side note, early voting hours start July 27th through August 4th at both Brady Lodge and Waterford Oaks Activity Center. Voting hours are 8:30 a.m. through 4:30 p.m., except for Thursday when hours are noon to 8. In addition to these achievements, I am committed to improving communication. I advocate for creative use of social media, local television, and community newspapers to keep residents informed and engaged. Further, I will advocate for the availability of electronic texts and email blasts to ensure that residents stay updated on important matters. Infrastructure. Addressing challenges within aging county subdivision roads I feel is crucial. I will support further enhancements to our neighborhood road improvement program and educating residents on practical alternative funding opportunities. Intersection safety and accessibility. This is a big one for me. Prioritizing alternative funding avenues, I aim to improve upon the safety and accessibility at the intersection of Dixie Highway and White Lake Road, collaborating closely with the Downtown Development Authority to address our community's concerns. In closing, as your clerk, I am committed to respecting your time, your resources, and most importantly, your rights as a voter. Thank you.
Hi folks, my name is Paul Brown, and if you're watching this video, you're trying to get information on the folks who are running for office at the township. I'm one of them. I'm going to start by giving you a little synopsis of my history in the township. My mom moved us here in 1968, 5 kids and my mom, and a little house on Eastview, and we packed in there. Tight fit for a big family, but my mom's optimism, which has fortunately infected me, made it seem a lot easier than it was. I've lived in 7 different places in the township in my life, so I've been in all parts of it, 7 different homes, still here obviously. I graduated from Clarkson High School in 1980, and I played basketball, ran track, marching band, jazz band, concert band, the usual things. I think I took an unusual path relative to getting a higher education. You know, I wasn't prepared for that out of high school, not because of my education, but just because of me, and probably a little bit of a lack of maturity at that age. And so I did other work for a number of years, and that included working at restaurants in the fast food business and being a handyman. And in fact, I was a handyman late in my 20s into my early 30s for the Bayless family. The Bayless family owned the farm at Hubbard and M15, that is now Independence Elementary, and the Clarkson family farm. I took care of that farm. I mucked the stalls, took care of the horses, cut the fields, fixed fences, and for the most part, I was the handyman for the Bayless family, multiple Bayless families that live in the township. And it was at the insistence of the Bayless family, in particular my friend Larry Bayless, that he made me go to college. He said, you gotta do it, you gotta go to college. And so at the young age of 32, I enrolled at Oakland University, and like I do with most things, when I decide I'm going to do something, I give it everything I have. So I got my degree in 3 years, going spring, summer, winter, and fall, moved back into my mom's house doing it, lived in the basement, and I just championed through it, give it everything I had to make sure I could succeed. I ultimately earned an accounting degree, and I went to work for Fomer Rajevitz. It's now UHY. It's a regional accounting firm down in Southfield. And I was there for about 5 years, ultimately being hired by one of the clients as a controller in the private sector for their business. I spent a number of years there, became a CFO at a company, and around 2012, I decided I wanted to give back to the community, and I ran for office and was elected treasurer in 2012. I think the fact that I have a CPA license and that I'm great with numbers makes me an asset to the township. And one of the first things I did when I got into office was I looked at the investment policy because it's one of the primary responsibilities for the treasurer is investing the township's money as we hold it. We collect the taxes and then hold that money to use to pay for services. So the treasurer is responsible to make sure that is safely invested and available when it's needed. And most importantly, that you don't lose any of it. So at the time, we had a paid consultant that was paid about $35,000 a year who told the treasurer how to invest the money. Well, after I evaluated the whole investment process, I recognized that we really were spending $35,000 that we didn't need to spend. And so I went before the board and asked them to allow me to create an investment advisory committee that's made up of township residents who have backgrounds in investing. And that committee, along with one other trustee member and myself, they review my policies and plans on how I would invest money. And then they can give insight to the board on whether or not I'm doing a good job. Eliminating that paid consultant has saved the township at 12 years and 35 grand, over $400,000 in the time I've been in office up till now. I'm also very good with numbers when it comes to seeing things that don't look right. So during my 12 years that I've been on the board, going back 8 or 9, I've recognized where there were some things that didn't look right relative to how we were charging commercial businesses for sewer usage. And without going into a ton of detail, though I'd be happy to do it if you want to come by the office, I can show you in more depth. There's about another $400,000 I've identified that the township's owed. We've collected over $200,000 of it, and we're still in the process of collecting more. And for me, it's things that I noticed because of my background in the private sector and my ability to see red flags and then dig into them. It's the reason I was able to get CFO jobs and controller jobs and ultimately a chief operating officer job. It was my ability to see things that don't look right and dig into it. The numbers never lie as long as you know how to look at them. So I think I'm a great asset for that. If you've came into the township to pay your taxes in the last 10 years, you probably have met me there. I tend to be right near the counter most of the time. And I do think I have a responsibility to be up there when folks pay their taxes. A lot of times folks have questions about those taxes, and I think it's imperative that we have transparency and we're willing to talk about the detail of the taxes so that folks understand what they're paying and how we're using it. So that's a critical part for me as well. Relative to what's happening in the township lately, I know there's been a lot of talk about development and that we're overdeveloping. But I do want people to understand that there's a master plan that's been in place for about 30 years, if not longer. And the areas where you're seeing some higher density homes being built, for me, that's a planned model. A lot of the township, when you go out to the northwest section, there are huge lots and lots of open spaces, and that's by design. These places where you're seeing more density, the idea behind that is that younger couples want to buy homes in a more dense area with smaller yards. Now, Clarkston schools are some of the best ever, and I'm a testament to that. Even after leaving school, 12 years later to go to college, what I learned in high school let me be extremely successful in college, and I graduated with honors. So Clarkston schools are great. But right now, there are also 1,400 students below capacity. And we have an aging population in Independence Township. And if we don't address and try to come up with ways to attract the younger families here, that's going to really exacerbate the problems for the schools of not having the number of students they need to be at full capacity or something close to it. So as an example would be the townhouses that are across from Independence Township, the town hall. Those townhouses are selling as fast as they can build them, and it's younger people. And my hope is that the younger couples that are moving there, they'll fall in love with Independence Township the same way we all fell in love with Independence Township. And they're going to want to have families. They're going to want to move from the townhouses into houses on bigger lots to raise their kids. So there's more to it than just saying we don't want to overdevelop. It has to be smart in the way that we do it, and I agree with that. Now, when it comes to preserving open space, I've been a champion of that for a long time. I participated in identifying the current location of the Clarkson Family Farms as a location that could work for that fantastic program. I've also identified property on Clarkston Road, was known as the Deer Farm, as a place the township should try and acquire to get parks for the residents. We tried that about 7 years ago. We weren't able to make it happen then. We still have an opportunity to do that, and that's pretty high on my list, is to figure out how we can get money from the state to maximize our ability to get that great property and turn it into a park for the residents, maintain some open space, because there just isn't that much left in the township, and now's the right time to start protecting it. Like I said before, if you have other questions and you want to have specific things you want to talk about, I'm at Town Hall from 7 in the morning till 5:30 at night, Monday through Thursday. My phone number is 248-884-1900. You can also call me. That's my cell number. I answer it at any time. And I certainly appreciate if you would support me as I run to be the treasurer for another 4 years. That's it for me. Thank you.